Hello and welcome in, all you O-Niners, PCHers,
Junior private detectives,
criminology TAs, first college whatevers, and television ministers to Life on Mars, the Veronica Mars Rewatch podcast. We go through episode by episode. I'm Brenton.
and I'm Emily.
And picking myself up off the ground after stumbling to tell you that we're talking about season 3, episode 12. There's got to be a morning after pill. Get it? Like the song, but the pill. But even though this isn't Plan B, but that's the joke they're making.
Yeah, Plan B and RU486 are not the same pill. And I do think it's important to distinguish that right off the top. RU486 is the quote-unquote abortion pill. It is the pill that can cause a early miscarriage.
Yeah. Wikipedia also listed as mifepristone.
Plan B is not that. Plan B is a pill you take twice, I think 12 hours apart. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's before you are pregnant. It's to prevent a pregnancy. It's to prevent you from having a viable pregnancy. It's like taking birth control in the last minute.
Totally.
And like in a heavier dose.
So like shown in this episode, you cannot get RU486 over the counter. Plan B, you can.
Yes, Plan B, you can go into a pharmacy and be like, please, I'd like some Plan B.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, okay, $50. At least that's how much it was when I was in high school.
Got it.
And then you say, okay. And then your friend that you're actually buying it for looks really nervous behind you. And you go, no, it's for me.
Don't you worry about this.
Really loudly. And then you buy your friend condoms and an assortment of other things just to remind them that, you know, there are other options. But it's okay to make mistakes. Just, you know, make sure that they're not mistakes that last for 18 years and that you feel resentful about.
Yeah, I feel like this episode takes the exact opposite approach. This episode read as like super pro-life to me.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, because it's everybody that's kind of like the talking heads that ends up being the good guys in this episode are, you should keep it because you don't know what will happen, and like you are given this great gift. It is like literally pro-life, which is...
Except for Veronica and Keith.
Yes. But even at the end, Veronica, the television minister, is left completely unexamined and uncritical.
And like inspired Veronica in a way.
Exactly. At the end, she turns the other cheek because of his like
speech.
Which I found super weird to be doing this for a television minister who's going to be going to like the prime time and is also connected to a pro-life organization that is harassing women.
Well, his CFO is. He's not personally.
Exactly. But like he's in business though, right? His CFO is then connected to this like organization. So like his hands are dirty.
And I just hate it.
Yeah, and Bonnie's roommate Phyllis, who ends up being the bad guy, spoiler, is black.
Well, and we should not also, what Veronica does to turn the other cheek is she decides to not destroy Madison Sinclair's car. She does not forgive Logan. No. So it'd be like if instead of forgiving Phyllis, the girl forgave Dick.
Yeah, right.
Like you're totally. Like, this is not correlated.
Not at all.
Madison Sinclair drugged you.
Yes, exactly. There are many other reasons for you to destroy her car.
And there's many reasons not to. Like, I'm not saying you need to destroy someone's car, but I'm saying, like, you know, you're not hurting anybody. You're hurting the property of people that can afford more property. Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
That was going to be my next point. You crush this car, she's going to get another one. She literally just got a new one right before, like, you saw it. Veronica saw it happen.
Yeah, so. You saw her get this car.
Yeah, it, the both of those, it's like this, her being like jealous and like taking it on the woman as the show likes to do. But then on the other side, being inspired by these incredibly religious people and this like very pro-life message. And you can really get a bad idea of what, not abortion clinics, but the idea of like what people who believe in abortion get from this, as portrayed by like Phyllis. because we get at least a more open conversation from Keith while he's relieved that nothing happened. But they're never specifically talking about that, like, Veronica as the option. It is the person portrayed by Phyllis. Also, the actress is named Tony Trucks, which is amazing. Being like, well, you would have wanted it anyway. I just helped you out. Like, I'm not going to let you ruin your life. And it's like, well, it's my life. So it's this weird, it's her choice, but the choice is obvious and it should be keeping it. And then on the other side of the jealousy for Veronica, as mentioned last time, there was the writer's room split on like whether or not Veronica should be more jealous. This extended into this episode too.
And the Madison Sinclair plot, I'm assuming, because I'm assuming
Yes.
if they hadn't made her jealous, it wouldn't have been a Madison Sinclair plot. It wouldn't have been Logan slept with Madison. It just would have been that one surfer girl or whatever.
Yeah, totally. I'm assuming that you're probably making a very accurate guess there. But at least in the scene where Veronica like breaks up with Logan, whatever that scene is, where like, you know, they have their fight, their big fight. Two of the writers for this episode were saying that she should be less mistrustful, paranoid, and jealous. Well, Thomas, and then the producer who wrote last episode said, no, we should push this forward. And so apparently Rob Thomas, to illustrate the point of why they're split on this, is that he enjoyed Chasing Amy, while the writer for this episode, John Enbaum, did not. Chasing Amy is a 1996 movie from Kevin Smith. 97. Where Ben Affleck falls in love with a lesbian and they end up dating. But when he finds out about her sexual past, breaks up with her, and they get in a huge fight, and then tries to reconcile with her, and she rebuffs him.
So she's bi.
Yes.
Okay,
but
so
they don't say that. I couldn't tell you nowadays, looking back on this, if the sexual identity politics of this movie work at all. I doubt they do. But she's never called bi in the movie.
Interesting.
It reads at first like he's like turning her almost.
Oh God.
But then where you get the scene later on that she had slept with two guys when she was like had a threesome with two guys when she was in high school, it reads more that like she is bi.
The men like writing about teenage girls having sex.
Well, that becomes the point of this movie, is that of like men's fragility around women's sexuality. And so that's where Ben Affleck breaks up with her, and he's like obviously in the bad of just like he can't handle it. But that's a weird like point to draw to then like flip it and be like Veronica is jealous of Logan's sexual experience, but in this case it's with like someone that is like deeply
who hurt her.
Yeah. So it's very weird point and very weird comparison to make.
Also,
and that doesn't
if
work
Dick
when
was
that's
with
flipped
them
around.
in Aspen, how did that happen? You know what I mean?
Totally. Did Dick say they were in Aspen together?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like when you guys were in Aspen.
Yeah.
She tells Dick when you guys were in Aspen.
Oh yeah.
And he's
Separate
like, when we
room.
were in Aspen.
Right.
Yeah, but
Sneaking
it's just
around.
It's just, yeah, it's intentionally sneaky. So it's not like the Logan in a sense of like, oh, like,
Yeah.
like
there you
it
go.
doesn't.
It's not about a sexual past. It's about trust.
Him lying.
Yeah.
He's a liar. Don't trust liars. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I believe that's a Maya Angelou quote.
Oh, there you go.
And it's something that I'm always like, oh yeah, that's a good. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Logan's he's not mature.
No, not
ready.
at all.
And he's written by men who like to think that men are like more experienced, more important, more like bigger than life kind of like energy and character. And she just got a lot of trauma. Go to therapy.
Yes, but we don't talk about that.
No. Therapy.
Exactly.
Therapy.
Or like
Everyone should go to therapy.
What are the role models that led him here? What is like we haven't gotten to the point of like Logan trying to be like in touch with his emotions, just like I'm fucked up, man. So I don't know. Well, you want to jump in?
Yeah. So we start with the dream sequence. Veronica is leaving Logan's bed in the dream sequence. She gets up. She's like, I have to go. Puts on her clothes. And you know it's a dream sequence because she's getting dressed and it's like they tried to make it like sexy. It's really weird because it's like she's like wearing like yoga pants and then like putting her shirt on. And I'm like, I don't ever get dressed in that order. Maybe it's a personal choice. I mean, I guess maybe, but like that's not like with her back to the camera, which is it's male gazy. Which is weird that she's like sexualizing herself in her own dream. Not saying she shouldn't feel sexually empowered, but then for how the dream turns, it doesn't really make sense. It's definitely male gazy.
Yes.
And so she's leaving the bed with Logan in it and she's walking away. She's like, oh, I have to go. And she sees that the doors to the little patio's open. She goes out there. It's snowing. She's in Aspen. So we know for sure now it's a dream because it does not snow in Southern California.
No, not like that.
It does not. Well, and even in general, if you're that close to the beach, you're not going to get any snow. You got to go north for that.
Totally. It did snow in LA when I was driving home from winter break in college and it shut down a freeway, but it was like not like enough to cover the ground. It was like, oh, there's just like it's falling from the sky and is going to melt very soon.
And then yeah, like you're usually, if you're by the beach, you're usually not on a high enough altitude to get snow.
No.
So then in Southern California specifically, I see you, Oregon. I see you, Vancouver. But so then she walks away. She walks back in to go tell Logan it's snowing. I don't fucking know. And Madison Sinclair is on top of him and turns around and Veronica wakes up with a start because her phone's ringing. It's Logan. He's like, hi, are you ready for our fun date tonight? And she's like, yeah, I got it. I thank you for waking me up. I have to go to work because I don't sleep anymore because I'm not going to tell you this, but I have dreams about you and Madison Sinclair. Which is, I mean, I know they do this in TV a lot, but it always annoys me because like I thought I dreamt weird as a person because television portrays dreams as like these like nightmares that look normal. And my dreams never look normal.
No.
Like I've never had a dream. I've had dreams where I'm like, was that real? But I've never had a dream where I'm like, when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, the ground's always blue. Like, no, like it doesn't.
Yeah.
That trope annoys me.
Totally. That's why David Lynch is so good because all of the stuff that he does is just like these weird liminal spaces that you're like, is this a dream? Is this not? Is this actually happening? Everything feels slightly off, but yet it's the same. It's all uncanny. That's very dreamlike. I would
argue that David Lynch definitely creates even realities in his shows or content that feel like they could be a dream.
Absolutely.
Nothing is, and when you build a world where nothing is normal, then it's like, oh, it's really easy to kind of play that game. But in a show like this, you have to keep it grounded or else you can't play that game. And I don't think that game's fun to play. No,
we've had bad dream sequences in this too, where she's on the bus.
Yeah, well, I thought that was like her, being psychic or something. We just weren't going to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Like she's meditating on it and like, okay, like I'm gonna,
she's passing into the other plane.
It's kind of like how she did it with Lily. Like she'd talk to Lily in her dreams. Like she's just visiting the dead.
Yeah, remember when Lily visits Duncan and we just never go back to it?
That makes me I feel uncomfortable thinking about that. It's just like her running by and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like waking, or she's just like waking dead on the couch.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that she's like it's like post death. It's not like he remembers her whole.
No. It's gnarly.
It's weird. I don't like that. But what exactly? I think there's some like they should have played with the paranormal in the show and they didn't.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And I think there's a lot of options for that. But I digress. I did not write the show, obviously, by the many complaints I've had. This was not written by me. At this time, I was in aforementioned 8th grade.
Hell yeah.
But so Logan doesn't know that she knows about Madison Sinclair. And it's very obvious by the way he's like, hey, like, yay, things are back on track. He's like, can't wait for our date tonight. And she's like, haha, yeah, I gotta go to work. Yep. Veronica goes to work.
Processing.
At work, Tim's girlfriend, Bonnie. Remember Tim? He's our creepy TA.
Yeah. Remember Bonnie? She hooked up with Dick, and we were all like, him?
Oh, God. Yeah. And then he got mad that she hooked up with some other frat boy.
Yeah.
And then she also was with the TA.
Mm-hmm.
And he got mad at her at the party.
Yeah. A lot of men mad at her for, promiscuity.
Yeah. And, just... The way Bonnie is portrayed, I have a whole rant in here that we're going to get to in just a second.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I made Brenton pause the television so I could write down my feelings. So Bonnie tells Veronica that she needs help figuring out who slipped her RU486, the abortion pill, because she was pregnant. And if someone slipped it in her drink to make her have a miscarriage. And so Veronica's like, how do I delicately ask, like, who's the father? And I'm like, you just go, who's the father?
And that's what Veronica decides on.
But she explains that. She's like, how can I would have just been like,
that line was very funny.
Yeah, who's your dad? Who's your dad? Who's the dad?
As the great Arnold Schwarzenegger once said, who's your daddy and what does he do?
So she's like, it might have been Dick. It might have been Tim. I don't know. So she's like, so I assumed it was Dick. So I was like, hey, will you pay for the abortion? Because I don't want to have this baby. Mm-hmm. And Dick wanted her to do a paternity test because ever the gentleman.
Yes. Of course.
So then she told Tim, or he found out, because her parents found out, because she went to her doctor. And
yes.
the doctor told her parents, because apparently violating HIPAA laws or privacy laws is totally fine. Because there's no way she's not over 18. She's dating a TA. It's not like she's a freshman.
Yeah, no, that's fucked up.
I assume.
But hey,
so
I had medical information divulged to my parents without my knowledge either.
After you were 18?
Yeah. Remember?
Yeah, that's illegal.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Unless you signed off on it.
No, yeah. I mean, it was nothing to do with pregnancy or anything. It was like literally about allergens, but like...
You weren't pregnant?
No.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. It happens.
Yeah, it's not cool. Hey, Southern California, maybe you should look into this. So he the doctor told her parents that she was pregnant. So the parents sent her balloons and were all excited. And so then Tim saw them and found out she was pregnant and was like super nice about it and was like, I'll take care of you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh. And so Veronica's like, why Tim? Mm-hmm. I have questions. Yep. Why Tim?
And then the shoe drops.
And then she said, he's like my dad in that way. End quote. I did not scream, but I thought about it. Mm-hmm. What Furiously that statement says.
The scream was in the pages.
Is that promiscuous women are promiscuous because they have daddy issues or because they want someone to take care of them. And women whose fathers take care of them are problematic because then they want someone to father them forever. And that women who don't have fathers then are looking for their father in men. Mm-hmm. And both of those are wrong. They're fucked up. And it's like, so it brings me to this whole point about like when we say that women have daddy issues, women are blamed for the action that a man took that they had no choice in. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have daddy issues. Her dad has issues.
Yes.
That's why he left. I mean, not in this case. Her dad didn't leave.
Right. But that whole part is...
Or it's like single, like how we berate single mothers. Mm-hmm. They're single because... assumedly the father left.
Yes.
Or did something so bad that the mother cannot be around them. You know, there's a lot of... And it doesn't...
But either way, the woman's agency, the mother's agency is not factored in.
Exactly. This is all about... We label women with what men did to them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to fight.
Yeah. She can't just like hooking up with people and having sex.
She can't just like having sex?
Yeah.
What's wrong with liking having sex?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the conservative flags are really flying on this episode.
Women are allowed to have pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I wrote, I hate men. Because I was like, couldn't just be because she likes having sex. I hate men.
Yeah.
And it's just, it infuriates me because it paints this image that women who enjoy sex are meant to be pitied.
Mm-hmm.
That there's something wrong with them.
Totally.
That they aren't right. That they should be more like, even if they are having sex, like women should have sex because you want them to sleep with you, but they shouldn't have sex with anyone else but you. But when you don't want to have sex with them anymore, then like they should just shrivel up and die.
Mm-hmm. But that men are allowed to do the things that
men are allowed to have sex. We don't talk about how Tim's having sex and how we're like, or Dick.
There was someone who posted today that they took 2 screenshots from someone's Twitter profile. First tweet was a side-by-side of Janet Jackson and Cardi B. And it's Janet Jackson from the Super Bowl halftime show where she had her shirt ripped off. And it's like, damn, like how far like our society has fallen that this was like a big like mistake. But then now like the WAP video is like feminist icon. And then someone took a screenshot of that and then took a screenshot of their likes where they've liked some sort of like OnlyFans porn stars like post. So it's like, yeah, you motherfucker.
Well, but also in that particular clip to this day, like I don't actually know like the who, what, or why, but she did not rip that off her top.
No,
And I think it was there's supposed to be fabric underneath it. Like that was the point. To this day, I don't know. Yeah. Like if it was just a wardrobe malfunction or what, but like Cardi B makes a choice. She has agency. She is intentionally doing that. And that particular scene, that's Justin's song that ends and gonna have you naked by the end of the song. And then it's Janet Jackson's boob. In what way is that Janet Jackson's fault when she didn't even take the thing off? She didn't touch it.
No.
It just infuriates me.
Totally.
And even if she wanted to show the world her nipple, who cares?
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, everyone's got nipples.
Totally. And then just bringing it right back full circle. Who cares who Bonnie wants to sleep with? And if the only issue that would be amongst us is between her and whoever her partners are.
Yeah, exactly. If Tim was like, hey, no, I want us to be exclusive. Right. I don't want to have an open relationship.
Yeah, but then it has nothing to do with her agency. So
then she's like, Veronica, I need you to like look into who gave me this pill, and I don't want you to tell Tim because like I don't want him to find out that like I'm suspicious at all, even though like I'm sure it's not him. And so we're like, okay, the red herring.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Tim is the red herring of this entire season.
Yeah. It's just like, and it's funny because the same character was played as a red herring in the last season.
Yep. Some weird janitor that tried to attack someone with a gun.
It's just weird. Okay.
Great. Yeah. They really make this actor play some great characters.
So then we cut to Veronica. She goes to go see Logan. She walks in for their date night. She's wearing jeans. He's like, oh, I hope they're not worried about formal attire or whatever, because they were going out to a nice restaurant for dinner, I guess. You know better than to take me anywhere where I couldn't wear jeans, even though I never wear jeans.
Right.
And she's like, hi, do you and Madison have sex over spring break? And I'm like, that's how I start every conversation.
Yeah, hey, just come right in.
We're coming in like a bullet. And I think that's important.
We gotta get this taken care of.
And
and he starts with, I knew you couldn't handle it. And it's like, buddy, that's not how you do this.
I knew you couldn't deal with that, so I didn't tell you.
Big fucking swing and a miss.
Remember when she said that all of the secrets come up? Like Veronica's whole life is surrounded by people digging up skeletons around her. Like she wasn't going to find out?
Yeah.
Like Madison Sinclair wasn't going to say anything.
Totally.
What what world are you putting your eggs in the Madison Sinclair is going to keep her mouth shut basket? Right. She drugged her.
At the very least, you've been had. You're back. You're caught. You're in your corner.
Yeah.
Apologize.
Yeah.
Don't fucking turn it around and make it seem like it was like some favor. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You can't handle it. That's why.
Yeah.
But he's, aforementioned, does not have the emotional range to understand this. But he goes into blame mode.
And so then Veronica's like, you do. She drugged me. And then I was sexually assaulted that night. And then do you remember how Beaver jumped off a building in the last season? Like, this is all connected, sir. So she...
My literal moral enemy.
Yeah, she gives it to him. And then she's like... And then she also had written slut on my car the night that I was...
Oh, right.
Yeah, like, there's just a lot, She got me... She drugged me so that then I was raped. And then she wrote slut on my car.
Yep.
we love that queen. So then Veronica's like, no, I can't deal with it. And she leaves because, I mean, why stick around?
Totally.
He's just destruction.
Totally.
Logan.
He's destruction, and he is not apologizing or doing anything in the very least.
You know who I feel like wouldn't gaslight her this way? Piz.
Yeah, a certain man with a certain radio station.
I'm beginning to think maybe you have the crush on Piz.
This is me like on, so what do you think of Piz? Handsome guy over there.
Thank God, like, I've never had to watch you try to matchmake anyone in your life.
Oh,
you would never do it.
I couldn't have. No. Nobody really ever asked me to. So thank God. I think people knew, like, we can't route it through this guy.
He's sending cell phone signals out instead of Wi-Fi.
Right. We can't give this guy the ball. He's just going to drop it.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Piz.
Exactly. Go Piz.
Yeah, we're big Piz fans in this family.
Mm-hmm. Did you take Keith notes this episode?
I did.
Okay.
So then I don't know what happened in the last episode. I was only tracking Veronica's storyline.
I will say, the Keith stuff, when I was like thinking back on it, like kind of like preparing for the episode, like just thinking back on everything and rereading like the summaries and things, it was just like, oh right, there's like this whole Keith plot line, and that's how I feel about this like entire season of Keith. It's like the he's not even a C plot. He's like relegated to like a G plot, like way down like the alphabet, and it's just like, oh this like is happening and supposedly tied to a larger mystery.
So Keith is walking our buddy back up, and they stop by the Odell's household because he's like, hey, I just have a question. I'm trying to figure out what happened here because in the police report it says that Cyrus's Volvo was egged, but I know you said you had the Volvo and he was driving the minivan. He's like, I assume the police are wrong because I mean we've all met Lamb. And she's like, yeah, no, I had the Volvo. He had the minivan for the drum kit to take his son to whatever.
Yeah, while I was out of town.
And then Keith leaves with backup. Well, no, she wasn't out of town. She was at the Neptune Grand. She wasn't supposed to be out of town.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When I said out of town.
Meeting or whatever.
Quote unquote. She was, the pretense for borrowing the car was going out of town, quote unquote.
I thought it was just for the meeting she had and that he needed to drive the son to the soccer thing. It wasn't that she was going to be out of town. It was that it was like a Wednesday night meeting thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. I assumed it was an out of town trip again.
I don't remember.
Okay.
You could be right.
Either way.
And so then she's like, no. So then Keith is like, a mystery is afoot because Claire? Nish says,
I called her Niche last time and watched the episode today or before the recording. It's like, well, okay, Nish
Nish
because I wrote it as niche in my notes last time and I'm like, now I don't fucking know what it was.
Nish was like, no, I egged the Volvo. So Keith is like, someone's lying. Veronica, we cut back to her. She walks up to Dick. And she's like, hey, like, what the fuck did you do to Bonnie? Like, you weirdo. What's wrong with you? And he is like, well, I just wanted to make sure it was mine, or whatever stupid bullshit. And so Veronica's like, you have a wadded up Maxim magazine where your heart should be, which was just like a great line.
Very good line.
And she's like, you should probably like help me figure this out because like you should. And also like Logan slept with Madison Sinclair when you guys were in Aspen.
Well, she doesn't like jump to that because he starts needling her about like he changes the subject to
her being like a running through all the rich boys in town.
Yeah. So then she's like, well, like, don't get mad at me. Logan slept with Madison in Aspen and truly wounds Dick. And
it's beautiful. I love it.
It really is. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to get to of like, well, there's like people you don't want to hurt. And then there's like, sometimes it's like, well, it looks like you got it checked, didn't you?
How does it feel?
Yeah, and Veronica is also caught off guard.
She's like, oh God, I didn't mean to say that to you because like who
Yeah.
you are and that you like Madison.
Totally. It's like, oh, you have feelings.
Yeah. And so then he's like, well, I've got to go get under someone else. So he walks up to a redheaded woman who's walking by and doesn't give her any answers. And she says, and I quote, must be liberating to not be cursed with a moral compass. I was like,
But even Dick, deep down inside,
has feelings for Madison Sinclair.
Yep.
It's just awful.
Yeah. That could also be a boy territorial pissing sort of thing.
Yeah. Bonnie's roommate, Phyllis, we go to Bonnie's room. Phyllis is there. She's like, honestly, I don't like Tim. But, he's won me over. And I'm like, same bitch.
Also drops nuggets that Bonnie wants to be the female Indiana Jones. I'm like, hell yeah. We don't know anything about Bonnie other than that she likes dudes.
Yeah, she likes to have sex and she wants to be an archaeologist.
I know. This is the greatest discovery we could have made. So
or an
much
anthropologist or, something.
Right, exactly. But Bonnie, let me tell you, it is racist to steal other cultures' idols and want to put them in a white museum. So just keep that in mind.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Phyllis Indiana Jones is fun, but he's doing the wrong thing.
Phyllis is like, yeah, we've been friends for a long time. I hate Tim, but he came through in a clutch. He's here when we need him. Yeah. He bought her what to expect when you're expecting, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm surprised with her parents. They were so chill, but it seems like he's even going to ask her dad if he can marry her. And Veronica's like, why?
Who is his father?
We find out that Papa Capistrano is a television preacher.
Papa Capistrano. Yeah.
Papa Capistrano.
Uh-huh.
And so then Veronica is like, okay, well, we got to look into Tim and see if how did someone get RU-486? So Veronica, it's after hours, and she's like, you know what? I know how to get into this room. So she goes and bangs on Tim's door because there's a custodian nearby. It's dark. No one's there. She throws a fit. She cries. The custodian comes over to help because he feels bad. And she's like, my parents, this is my brother's room, whatever,
My brother, my father, my brother.
Throws fit. He lets her in because men will do anything to prevent women from crying in front of them because they don't want to listen to us.
Yep. That's exactly the look that he gets when he leaves. It's like, oh boy.
Yeah, women. How dare they?
Women, am I right?
And so Veronica goes in.
It's part of his act.
She tries to check his search history, stuff like that. Can't because he has a password. So she's like, I'll just leave a little camera.
Love the Windows XP login.
She lays a plot so that then she can come back and get his password later, basically.
Yep. Sets up camera underneath.
So then she's home. She can't sleep because she's having Madison Sinclair nightmares. Honestly, same, me too. And then her dad comes in. He's like, are you okay? And she's like, no, Logan and I broke up. But anyway, how was your day, Dad? And he tells her that either Nish or the dean's wife is lying. And Veronica's like, interesting, but also I'm sad. And I'm like, that's not Veronica. Veronica would throw herself into the case to not feel.
Yeah, she's done that in the past.
Yeah, so why are we changing? Logan is not, we've broken up with Logan before. He's not that great, Jason Doring is a beautiful man.
And a very charming person that is being completely covered with horrible, horrible dirt this season.
Yeah, he's being misused.
Yeah, no.
Justice for Jason Doring.
Exactly. Hey, we're going to make you more complicated this season by just making you really sad and toned down without doing anything to develop your character. Because you've pointed this out, that he's the only one that gets a character
an arc.
Yeah, they just press pause this season.
Yeah, they were like, you know what? Let's bury that shit. Why would we develop anyone? When we could reverse Veronica, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Also, therapy. Everyone in this town needs therapy.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the world probably needs therapy, but I think in this town of Neptune, start with the sheriff and just work your way through the town roster. If you're a registered voter, you probably need therapy.
Let's start with Logan maybe, because
maybe not Cliff though. He seems all right, but we don't know. We don't know. He could be sad.
He could already be going.
True. Maybe Cliff is already in therapy.
Yep.
Just creating narratives for everyone.
Exactly.
So
new episodes of In Treatment and Veronica Mars crossover.
So now Veronica goes into the TA's office while he's there so she can tape over his things so she can leave the door unlocked, basically, and just like small talks with him, like complains that she had a B instead of an A or whatever, and he pulls up his grade so that then she can like see what his password is. So then she comes back later once she's videoed the password. But first, Veronica's like, you know what I'll do with my free time instead of looking into this case and the murdered Dean? I'm going to stalk Madison Sinclair.
Right.
Because she's like, when I can see her, I don't dream about her. And I'm like, that's not
how this works.
Out of sight, out of mind, bitch.
Totally. This like jealousy stuff that your creator has mapped onto you is not working.
Well, and also it's not
congruent.
It's also like, it doesn't fit Veronica's character. It's not, it's also like not a good example of jealousy.
No,
It's like, that's not how jealous people tend to act. You don't want to see her. You want to take her down. You would be, see her.
Yeah, but you would be monitoring the,
you'd be monitoring the partner. Logan situation.
Yeah.
Not the Madison situation. Yeah. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's bad. So, she sees Veronica or Madison, who goes to USC, come home for the weekend, and she brought her laundry home, and she gets a new Mercedes. And I'm like, yeah, same, me too. Every time I come home from USC, I get a new Mercedes. I've never been, so
it was so nice those days where I could just like swap my Mercedes every time I came home.
Yeah. What color Mercedes did you have?
Ooh, bright red.
Oh. Mm-hmm. And then what was your other
teal,
one? Oh.
And then a black for when I was going out on the town.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's definitely what you drive, a Mercedes.
Yep, Mercedes. Well, that's what they've always called a Saturn. It's like the Mercedes of the working class.
Hey, Veronica has a Saturn. We're not shitting on Saturns.
No, yeah.
It's just that hers is a little bigger than yours.
Yes.
Both have a hatchback, though.
Hell, it's the one thing you can rely on Saturn for.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think so either. I'm pretty sure my grandparents had a Saturn, and it was not a hatchback.
Anyway, enough car talk.
Yes, we love cars. I know so much about them.
I can read the letters on it and tell you what kind of car it is.
Yes, I was not the person that didn't know that V didn't go below 6. Like, yeah, I've got a V4. It's like, that's a 4-cylinder. It's like, I think it's a V4.
The voice cracking was just cherry on top.
Like, I think I'm right about this.
Yeah, so Madison got a Mercedes. I don't care about cars.
No, I
would prefer for us to have like a really robust public transportation system.
Exactly. If we could just replace all these freeways and cars with trains, buses, hell yeah, just robust travel system, public transit. Let's do it.
I'm into it. And I love trains.
Clean?
More
exactly.
trains.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we could run old trains on like these older tracks, so then we could have high-speed rail tracks. So you could do like scenic trains on the current Amtrak tracks that are slower. And then you have the high-speed rail for like when you need to get where you want to go.
Exactly. We talked to the people in France and in Japan that implemented these fucking high-speed rails that they've had for forever, and we ignored the stupid idiots what's his name that heads up Tesla and Virgin, who are making people movers that are already slower, even though they're supposed to be more advanced, and they're only able to transport 2 people. I fucking hate it.
No thank you. So while we take over the world, I'm going to continue on with this episode. You keep planning our high-speed rail.
Okay, perfect.
You draw the map.
Okay, so it's got these wheels here.
Wheels.
Yeah. What?
I'm going to need wheels and tracks.
Yeah, wheels and tracks. Okay. Face on the front.
I'm going to need
It's going to be blue.
Is it Thomas?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what if each high-speed rail was a different Thomas the Tank Engine friend?
Wait, what line are you hopping on? I need to take Percy.
Oh, I'm taking a Thomas downtown, and then I got to get Percy because I'm going by my grandma's. Taking the southbound Percy.
I hate the Percy line. Okay. I
don't remember any of their names. Martha, is that one of them?
Maybe. I don't remember. I only remember Percy.
And Thomas.
Oh, boy. All right.
So Veronica then goes into Tim's office after hours again, and now she can get in because the door didn't lock. So fun fact about me. I always worry that someone will prevent me from being able to fully lock my door. So when I lock it, I check and make sure it's locked. I pull on it.
Right.
Obviously, Tim, there's a reason why he's a DA and not a professor. It's because he hasn't learned to pull on the door.
Right. Or he doesn't notice that like it's not like clicking into place.
Anyway, Veronica goes in and she's like looking through his thing and she's looking through his search history and all that. And then she's like, what is this? A file about Dean O'Dell's mystery murder.
There's a mystery afoot.
That's the whole point of the show, isn't there?
Yep.
It's about investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Put together clues.
Ooh. And she's like, he has a witness that I don't have. So she finds the witness's name and then she's like, oh, good. I'll go look into this.
Yes.
Logan.
Anthony Martin is the witness name.
Oh, thank you. Logan. Sad boy sad.
Yep. Surrounded by pizza.
Surrounded by pizza and beer bottles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what sad boys do?
Yeah.
I will say that, okay, so you know how people are like annoyed because men always write women as like when they're sad, they're like surrounded by pizza and like wine bottles and they're like crying.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
like the people getting mad at Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, because it's like she shaved her legs. Like what? Like,
right.
And I like that's picture. But even that one though, at least it's like messy and
yes.
like it's like the way her character's designed. It kind of makes a little more sense because she has like hyperfixation.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I feel like even when she like is supposed to go out and like puts on makeup, it's like intentionally messy, even though she's trying to.
Yeah, she's trying to like look together.
But yeah, people are just like, she's too hot to have a meltdown.
Yeah, which is not true. But I will say I saw a TikTok and it explained exactly how I feel about scenes like that, and it's that for most people that I know when they go through a breakup, they are fucking chaos. They are not sitting at home sad. They are keying his car angry.
Mm-hmm.
Or, which to me is a healthier emotion. I mean, no vandalism, no violence. But if you do, call me. I'll come with you.
Totally.
And for the vandalism, I don't do violence. I'm small. I'm not helpful at all. I was like, there's a lot more like chaos involved usually. And like, I think what was poignant that Queen's Gambit scene is that, you know, she's alone. She doesn't have anyone. And that's what that is about.
That's why she's at home drinking.
Exactly. But most girls or women that I know would be like, okay, cool. So now we've all taken shifts to make sure that you eat. And, you know, like, it's like, you got your pack.
Totally.
And, I think men have designed that image of women being sad around what they do when they're sad, which is mope, because they don't know how to talk about they don't want to talk about their feelings because if they talked about their feelings, then their feelings are real. Whereas women are like screaming, crying in a public bathroom, and other women are like, yes, you're absolutely right. What a fucking asshole is he here? Can we beat him up?
Totally.
Because validating emotions is important.
Yeah, exactly. I will say for Logan, he has nobody.
Yeah, he has nobody. So, but that's what I'm saying is I think when men design those women that fall apart in shows, they design them like men. So I feel like Logan is accurate because it is a young man who doesn't really have anybody. Mm-hmm. But I think when you think of like your typical woman, like Veronica.
And everybody's trying to be like, come on, Vanessa, you need to get out.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, okay, like let's all come over and listen to you cry.
Right.
But Logan doesn't have that because he slept with Madison Sinclair.
Right.
So then this comes to bite him in the ass because Dick comes in. He's like, you hooked up with Madison and Aspen. And Logan's like, yeah. And he's like, that was not cool, dude. And I'm like, it was not cool, dude. It was not cool, dude.
Yes.
So then Dick leaves angry and sad boy sad. Mm-hmm. Veronica's like, I got to look into this Capistrano case. So she goes to the ministry.
Capistrano case.
Papa Capistrano.
I know. I like it. I just hope that this is called, instead of like a Bonnie mystery or something, it's Capistrano case.
Exactly. She's like, oh my gosh, my name is Hester, because, you know, what else would you call a woman of promiscuous energy?
Yeah, pretty good.
It made me think of Easy A, which is one of those movies that I always forget is that good until I watch it again.
Yeah, we watched it a month ago. That was quite funny.
it's a really good movie. And like I feel like no one ever talks about it.
No.
And I love that movie.
Yeah.
And I forget that I love that movie because no one ever talks about it.
And even at the time, I remember it coming out and certain people like it, but it was never.
It's because it was like encouraging promiscuous like energy,
probably.
but like not necessarily like actually like being promiscuous. You know what I mean? It's like agency.
Yeah.
And like people don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, that's probably true. And yeah, then it's like a comedy with a woman.
Women aren't funny.
Yeah, it must be a romantic comedy.
Girls can't be funny.
Right. Also, go watch Booksmart after that. That's a really good one.
That's a hilarious movie.
Yeah.
That's
apparently on Olivia Wilde's follow-up movie, whatever film she was shooting like now, Shia LaBeouf was on it and got like kicked off it. And apparently because like he was being a giant asshole, and Olivia Munn has
Olivia Wilde.
Thank you. Has a no asshole rule.
I love that.
Yeah. I feel like all sets should have that.
Well, and especially as a woman, like you can't have that. You can't have some man coming in here acting like you're more important than everyone else.
Yeah.
Like get the fuck out.
Especially after hearing about all the shit he did to FK Twigs.
Yeah, he's not cool.
Yeah. Absolutely gross.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Sorry, really derailed us.
But so she's like, "Hi, I'm Hester," and she tells them that she's pregnant or she has an issue, and the guy who sees her at the door is like, "Sorry, we're moving. Come back another day."
Yeah.
But then
Thurman, who's the
bad guy,
yeah,
CFO.
Yeah, Thurman Randolph.
So then Papa Capistrano hears her, and he's like, "Absolutely, let's go talk to my office."
Reverend Ted.
She tells him that I am pregnant. She tells him I am pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
She tells him that she's pregnant, and she's like, "My parents just wouldn't understand." And he's like, "I don't know. Like my teenage daughter was pregnant, and we were excited. Like the excitement of having a grandbaby was just overwhelming."
Yeah, you don't want to give up that gift.
And he's like, "But my daughter lost her baby, so like whatever." Veronica leaves, and she's like, "Okay, like this man definitely did not try to get rid of his own daughter's baby. That's promising. Good,
right.
Good on him."
Wow, so loving.
Yeah. Veronica goes to the clinic next door, and she's like, "Hey, I need to ask how people get the abortion pill because someone slipped it to my friend." And she's like, "There's no way like a guy could come in here and get it. Like you take it here, you take it in person in front of us." So Veronica's like, "Could someone slip it under their tongue?" And she's like, I mean, I guess, but
right.
like, like odd, like why? Like, so,
yeah, she's just like, I guess anything's possible.
So, then Veronica's like, "Okay, well, interesting. I'm gonna go now." She goes to see Anthony, our suspect from Tim's list. Anthony's like, "Hey, I already told Tim all this, but yeah, like, I heard some gunshots walking back. I was drunk. I was whatever. And then the next day I was like, oh shit, those were gunshots. Like the whole story pieced together." And she's like, "What time was that?" And he's like, "I don't know. Like I was drunk." And he's like, "But I got home and then I watched Space Ghost." So Veronica looks it up. Space Ghost.
Terry Jones
was on. Is that a real thing?
Space Ghost?
Yeah.
Early Adult Swim cartoon. It was taking old Space Ghost cartoons from like Hanna-Barbera. Space Ghost was like in the say 60s 70s, and editing in clips of celebrities to make it seem like it was like a talk show. It's fantastic. We can watch some Space Ghost. I really like Space Ghost.
Okay, we'll have to look into that.
It's like Harvey Birdman. I don't know if you ever watched Adult Swim at this time. It was pretty much all public domain cartoons from Hanna-Barbera edited to like be like jokes. I
have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
I went to bed.
Perfect. It's on HBO Max.
If I stayed up late, you know what I was doing? Reading.
Yeah. I couldn't stay up this late, so I would tape them on a VHS, or when I was over at friends' houses, we'd watch Adult Swim. That's how I would get my anime on my VHS. We still had a recording VHS all the way up through high school, so.
Yeah, my parents would record things even though like the TV could save things.
Oh, yeah, we didn't have that until I left for college.
We don't teach my family new tricks. Then they learn them, and then they're so much better at technology than I am. But you can lead the horse to water, you can't make it drink.
Exactly.
The horse has to buy the spring first. So she finds out the Space Ghost was on at 2:30 in the morning, so she can kind of like gauge that he was out there at like 2:20, 2:10. hey, Weevil, I missed you, buddy. Thanks for fixing that air conditioner around campus. Would you mind doing me a favor? Would you mind crushing Madison Sinclair's car? And he's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, not at all. She got me in trouble for supposedly stealing her hubcaps.
Yep. He's like, but it'll be $500. That's the going rate, right?
Yeah, I was like, hell yes. Make your money finally.
Get that coin, Weevil. So that's exciting. We're like, yeah, okay, we're gonna get rid of Madison Sinclair's car, and we get a little Weevil time.
Yeah, and he gets to make some money.
Then Veronica comes home. Keith is like, hey, honey, can we talk? I just got these photos of you exiting an abortion clinic.
Yeah, fucking terrible pro-life thing to do, which I'm sure is a real thing that happens. But,
oh yeah, they'll stand out there and like chant at people and try to take photos. That's why people stand out there to like protect the people coming in.
Right. Yeah, taking the photos and finding their addresses is
they'll dox people.
Yeah, insane.
I wouldn't say everyone who stands out there does that, but I would also say, why the fuck are you standing outside? No, you can pray at home.
Totally.
Pray at home.
Mm-hmm. That's not what it's about.
No, it's about intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Veronica's like, no, Dad, I was at the clinic for a case. But like, back to the point, like, where did these come from? Because this is very suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to know if they have a photo of anyone else, you know.
Yep. We can use this.
Keith and Veronica go to the printer. They tell them they are something. What was Keith's name? Something in Nancy Drew.
Oh, yes. I forget his name, but yeah.
To find the people who take the photos, the guy there is like, oh my God, yeah, like, please help us. Like, we're trying to catch all these horrible women who are having agency over their body.
Yep.
Also, there's no such thing as like most women's health centers do so much more than abortion.
Mm-hmm.
So
but that's the only thing being portrayed there.
It's like, oh yeah, they come in to get abortions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
yeah, this TV show is
written by
exactly someone who's obviously, even if they don't consciously think they're pro-life, they're pro-life.
Mm-hmm. And so Veronica finds out that one of the girls she gets to look at the binders of all the women they have. Binders full of women. Oh my God. Just like,
yes.
God, what was his name?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, I forgot. It'll come back. It's a Republican. You'll find it. He had binders full of women. And she finds that one of the girls in the binder had been with Dick, but then they get kicked out because the CFO from the Church of
Capistrano Ministries.
Papa Capistrano. He also works at this place, and he was like, no, I know her. Her name was Hester when she came into us. Like, she's lying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would lying about her name make her suspicious?
Totally.
I lie all the time.
You're getting played.
So then,
but yeah, it was the girl that Dick put his arm around at the beginning of the episode.
Yes, the woman he followed after. Her name is Nadia. Veronica confronts Dick about Nadia. He's like, Nadia Comaneci, and she's like, that's a gymnast, an Olympic
kicker on
gymnast.
This was actually funny.
Yes, it was hilarious. And he's like, well, that's what she told me. And Veronica's like, oh God, like you, like no, like what is her real name? And he's like, I don't know, it doesn't matter. And so Dick walks away. Veronica then goes and finds Nadia. She gets a class schedule. She finds her and she's like, oh my God, I saw you with this kid I know, Dick. And she's like, he told me your name was Nadia Comaneci. And she's like, oh, I gave him that as a fake name because like he tried to make out with me at a party or something, and I like wanted to get away from him. Uh-huh. She's like, wouldn't you lie to him about your name too? And I'm like, yes, yes, I would. I wouldn't even give him my first name. Exactly.
I know you're thinking on your feet, but much like an Olympic gymnast, I think you stuck this one.
Mm-hmm. The Simone Biles of this.
Yeah, exactly. Of giving up fake names.
And so, Veronica's like, okay, so it wasn't her because she's not like close with Dick. Like this woman is just like, fuck Dick. And I'm like, me too. Like, yeah, fuck you, Dick. Then we get a call from Mindy O'Dell. By we, I mean Keith. Mm-hmm. Because I took notes about him this time. Yes. And he's like, someone's in my house. And they're downstairs, and I have my boys upstairs in the room. But like, please come help because you're closer, and the police suck. And I'm like, well, you're not wrong.
Fair enough.
Keith comes in, he sneaks in the house, he does his spy shit. I love how much action Keith does in this show.
I know, it is very funny because you would never think of, no offense to Enrico Colantoni, but like, you know, he just looks like your dad.
Exactly, but he's your dad and he can do flips.
Exactly.
I mean, rolling flips. I don't know how
God.
he measures against Nadia Comaneci.
That's what I was gonna say. Watch out.
Did they train together?
Yeah, he does you ever see him do it? He does a back handspring in that one episode.
Okay, I was like, name a move. I'll wait.
Yeah. full out?
I mean, that's more of like a cheer term.
Oh, okay.
Like that's how you describe something. Like full out would be like if you did a routine full out, it'd be like full through your moves. But you could also do like a full.
What's a round off?
Like a layout. You know what I mean? Like there's
okay.
like you could do a move that way. It's like, but you know, like could just say like a full, or like a laid out full.
Laid out full, sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That means your body's straight and you do a full twisting with one backflip.
Oh, okay.
Simone Biles was like, you know, like triple triples and triple doubles and just like fucking.
He did the Biles.
Oh my God. Which one? There's two on the floor and there's one on the beam and I think there's one
on the floor.
On the vault. I think there's one on the
beam
vault.
Is not a strong suit.
He's not a good beamer?
No.
Makes sense.
But he's a good boomer. Hi-yo.
Oh God. You can catch us at your local comedy club.
All right, that's my time. Thank you, Chucklehead.
Chucklehead. So Keith comes in, figures out who it is. It's the ex-husband. He just wants free stuff.
Well, he knocks him out.
Yeah.
Steve Batondo.
It's the ex-husband. He wants free stuff because Mindy O'Dell stopped paying for the Porsche because she didn't have money because the dean died.
Yeah. And she didn't get any money because of it was a suicide.
Suicide, yeah. So he takes the vase. He takes like random shit out of the house. He's like all
because he was leaving the house with a turkey.
Yeah, he was stealing a turkey.
Weird as fuck.
Or some sort of poultry.
And then when Keith comically knocks him over the head and knocks him out. Very TV sort of like thing. I'm surprised he didn't wake up with amnesia.
And he's like, and Keith is like, hey, Mindy, you should probably like, you know, call the police about him because he's obviously on meth.
She's like, oh, he's fine.
She's like, yeah, he's got a little drug problem.
He's just a little silly stealing my poultry.
Just a little silly.
Mm-hmm.
So then she's like, hey, Keith, would you mind while I put the kids to bed or my little one to bed while like hanging out because like my nerves are shot. And he's like, yeah, do you mind if I grab a drink? And she's like, sure. So then he goes into the garage to check the cars. He doesn't find anything super suspicious.
He does.
But he does find a little bit of egg on the Volvo, right?
Wadded up piece of paper.
Oh, I thought it was egg.
Mm-hmm. So it could be like a note.
Oh, okay. She sees him out in the garage and he's like, yeah, my parents always put the adult beverages outside. And she's like, no, they're in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Very
it seems
good
like
cover.
a bad choice to make though when you have a teenager and a little kid.
Yeah, you're talking about the goth.
Yeah. So then Keith goes to check on the goth older kid with black nail polish. She's like, yeah, like he's all right, I guess. She's obviously like not very much in love with this child. And she's like, Cyrus was debating sending him to military school, but like we don't think it'll do any good. And so we go from there. Keith leaves. We cut to Sad Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Sad Logan sad.
Yeah.
Sad Logan has facial hair.
Yes. And makes a call to Veronica and starts it out as all good apologies do.
It's all your fault.
By blaming them.
He's like, I wish I could undo it, but I love you. That's how he ends it.
Yeah, because at first he's just like, oh, are you going around looking into other people's past, like digging up all this dirt and evidence, trying to like trial these people? Way to go, Veronica. I'm so sad.
Sad boy sad.
Yes.
Veronica and Keith pieced together that Thurman is the ministry CFO and that he's also involved at that horrible place.
Good WordPress.
Yeah, thank you. Veronica also listens to her voicemail from Logan. She deletes it before finishing because it starts mean, and then Keith interrupts her.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Because if we, agency, bringing it back around. I would much rather have Veronica have the agency after listening to the voicemail to make a decision. Yes. Not that like, oh, it's out of her hands. What could have happened? Like maybe if she'd listened to the whole thing. But it's like, I wish that she could either listen to the full episode, the full message and go, I'm tired of these excuses. Fuck this guy. Or, hey, maybe we'll work it out. But this is just like this like stupid unresolved thing. No one just fucking deletes a message right off the bat. So,
or they do, and they don't listen at all, and they say, "I'm fucking done with you."
Exactly, but this it looks like I'm trying to cover up.
Yeah,
that's stupid. I hate it.
Veronica goes. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to church with Bonnie.
Yeah, almost called her Betsy.
So she could talk to the dad and Thurman, etc. So Veronica shows up at the room. The dad's there to pick them up to take them to church. And Veronica's like, she sees what to expect when you're expecting, and she picks it up and she notices that there's a bookmark in it, and it's the same bookmark from Good Work Press that was sent to her father with the photos of her coming out of the clinic. And she's like, you know what, Bonnie, I think it was Tim because he gave you that book. And this book came with a pro-life bookmark that I received when my father got photos of me exiting the clinic. And Bonnie starts freaking out and yelling at Phyllis because we find out that Phyllis gave her that book, not Tim. Mm-hmm. And Phyllis was like, yes, I did slip you the abortion pill because like you have a future and you don't want to throw it all away and like settle for Tim. And I'm like, valid points, but you don't give someone drugs unconsenting.
Yeah.
You could talk about that. You can even say that. You can say that to someone. That's okay.
And as a pro-choice person, it's fucking terrible to include.
Mm-hmm. And then her dad's like, don't get mad at her. Anger will tear you down. Like, be a bigger person, blah, blah, blah. God loves you. She was doing the best she could.
Anger leads to fear. Fear leads to hate. And then you will be down the dark side.
Hate leads to hate. I want to be on, at least the dark side gets to have feelings.
I guess. It's all negative ones, though, so you have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll be gray.
Yeah, there are gray Jedi.
Really?
Yep. Outside the movies.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, it is not in the movies.
Oh, I thought you said that's in the movies.
Oh, sorry. Outside the movies.
Oh, and I was like...
Extended lore.
Sure. I totally remember that gray scene.
No, yeah. Hey, watch Last Jedi, because then you realize that like people could be doing things they think are good, but are actually bad. See Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm. And so then Veronica's like, you know what? This preacher saying anger will tear you down just really changed my heart. So she goes out to where Weevil is, and he's about to destroy Madison's car. He's like, I washed it. Trust me, it's a better effect when you've cleaned it. And I'm like, I love you, Weevil.
Yep.
And she's like, you know what, Weevil? Don't destroy the car. Here, I'll pay you, but like put some tuna behind her air conditioning vent, but don't destroy it, because like, you know. And he yells, "You're going soft, Mars." And I'm like, she is going soft.
She is.
And I'm not saying property damage is the way to go, but I'm saying it's not the worst choice you can make.
No. Mm-mm. She can pay for it. It's just property. Even, she's fine. Yep. This was a hashtag not all Christians episode. Yep. Why would you not try and... We don't know now. I hate that the Reverend ended up being like this good person to hold up, and he probably could be, but like...
Well, the Reverend's fine, but then we really need to demonize the other guy, and we need to demonize... we don't need to demonize her pro-choice friend. We could have come up with a different plot for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we don't know what his connection... We know that Thurman is connected to the other place, but how does that connect back to the Reverend? What is his opinions on this? Mm-hmm. He gets the choice of celebrating a baby, not of having to go through what it might mean for his daughter to get an abortion. Mm-hmm. So, isn't that fun? But, yeah. Any other thoughts?
No, I hate it.
Yep. This is a bad one. This is a bad one ideologically. And I'm getting a little sad as this is 12 episodes into season 3.
I would like more Piz content.
Yes. You got 7 episodes left, V-Mars, so give it to us.
Yeah. And then we get to do the movie.
Yes.
Which I do have at least like fashion reviews on the movie.
Oh.
And the plot, it just feels really strange and I love it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to revisit that. I'm wondering how I feel a second go around.
I mean, Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we go into that final season.
Yeah.
And then the final scene that changes it all.
Yeah. But for now,
shall we plug? When I'm not here doing this, sometimes I'm here doing this for our other podcast. It's called But Really Though. It's a podcast where we talk about things that sound interesting to us. I talked about Newgrange. It's a passage tomb this last week. It's older than Stonehenge. It's not older than dirt, I guess, technically, because it's made out of stone. And I feel like dirt probably came before stone. I don't know, though. I don't know how you know that. It's older than the pyramids of Giza. It's old as fuck. It's in Ireland. It's really cool, and we don't know why it's there.
Exactly.
So I talked a little about that.
Very
and
cool.
Brenton talked about
the Arecibo Observatory that fell in December and led to many scientific achievements before it collapsed.
Exactly. We talk about a variety of things over there. You can find that podcast wherever you found this podcast. Just search But Really Though, and though is spelled THO. I also am a life and career coach. I have a website. It is butreallythough.com, spelled just like that last podcast I just mentioned. You can schedule a free coaching discovery call over on butreallythough.com. And I'm here to help you get your shit together. We can make your life work for you. We can help you adapt to change. We can make a plan to get your goals, or we can just kind of like figure out what direction you want your boat pointed in. We work it out together, and we don't do any of that toxic positivity bullshit. If you couldn't tell by this podcast, it's not really my game. I don't subscribe to hustle culture or grind culture, so I'm not going to tell you to work hard, play hard. I'm going to tell you to make as much money as you can working less so that you can play more. So you can sign up for free discovery call over on my website, or you can follow me on my Instagram. But really, though, it is BTRLYTHO.
You can find this podcast on Twitter and Facebook at Mars Rewatch. You can also email us at marsrewatch@gmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at PyleBreton. That's PYLEBRENTON. And you can also find, for something a little different, our Let's Play over on my YouTube channel. We're playing through Mutant Year Zero, and that is over on Burger Discourse.
All right. Well, stay toasted, marshmallows. Go soft, marshmallows.
Yeah, go soft. Actually, just like Shaq says, he didn't get out. When most players get out of the game, they get soft. I got supple.